Welcome to Mudrogue on Frost. I have a lot to catch up with. I'm going to go through quite a few stories, but I'm gonna make them a little quick, keep them hopping off and, and keeping them interesting. Thank you for those of you that are hanging in with the channel right now. I know that my uploads have been limited lately, but a lot of the news, if you want to catch up with it, you got to head over down in the description, head over to the Discord channel. Those guys are putting up content on the Discord channel, which I would have a hard time posting on YouTube. And even on Odyssey, sometimes Odyssey gets a little picky about some of the more blood and gory stuff. Now, as far as for my stories, we are going to start off with a little bit of update, an overall update. Let me show you what I got. Let me put myself in the corner here. All right, guys, so we're going to start with this clip from Forbes breaking news that was posted 3 days ago. So allegedly it's a current clip. U.S. military commanders testified to Senate's Armed Services Committee. This video is actually 2 hours and 15 minutes, but I lucked out that over on TikTok, Monday TV had the exact clip I wanted you guys to listen to. So we're going to go through that really quick.
First of all, sir, if I could, I'd like to underline your comment about the specificity of the degradation of the Russian forces. Much of the Russian military has not been affected negatively by this conflict. One of those forces is their undersea forces. It's hard to talk in public, as you well know, sir, about.
So he goes on and talks about the undersea forces, but overall in general, he is saying that the war has not really affected the Russian military. I still contend, and in time, I'm proven right all the time, and in time, I think it's going to be proven that the war has actually made Russia a stronger military. They are currently a battle-hardened military all the way around. They've shook the bugs out of their logistics, out of their arms production. They are in war mode. Let's skip a little further on this. Like you said, like he just said, the war hasn't affected the Russians, and in particular has not affected their naval undersea forces, their submarine forces at all. Now, further down, this gentleman here, I'm not sure what agency he's from, but I want you to listen to what he has to say.
Their undertaking.
The New York Times and the Washington Post and CNN and Fox and the the London Times and Telegraph in London and the Daily Mail and the BBC and all the Western media, Doc, they've been telling us every day for a year, the Russians are losing, they're bleeding, their troops are deserting, Ukraine is winning, the Russian army is going to collapse, there's mutiny. It's all a lie, isn't it?
Yes, did you catch it?
I did. It's propaganda. It's all
propaganda, guys. It's propaganda. It's been propaganda since the beginning. I still run into people online on the different forums that they truly believe that Ukraine is winning. They really think Ukraine can take back Crimea. They talk that big game, and what they use to prove to me that they're telling the truth is that they throw at me mainstream propaganda. They go, look what CNN is saying. Look even what Fox is saying. Look what So-So is saying. I try not to use those sources unless they benefit me, because they are lying sources. And out of those sources, you can still get the truth. And in this case, from an American general who is in the know, Russia is not losing. Russia has not been torn down to the ground to the point where, let's listen to that again. What do you say? To the point.
First of all, sir, if I could, I'd like to underline your comment about the specificity of the degradation of the Russian forces. Much of the Russian military has not been affected.
Much of the Russian military has not been affected by the conflict. Now, this clip demonstrates to you how corrupt the media is and how ill-informed the American people are. The fact that the U.S. soldiers are fighting Russian soldiers in the war in Ukraine has no business in the public domain. This all comes from the leaks, the Pentagon leaks.
This is information that has no business in the public domain. It has no business, if you don't mind me saying, on the pages of...
He is saying that the truth that the United States military is apparently illegally, without congressional approval, has American troops fighting Russian troops in Ukraine, something that can lead us to World War III, a nuclear conflict. that the truth does not belong in the public domain. He is not mad that we are violating international and American law. He is mad that the truth got out, and he does not want the truth out. And what is disgusting is that the media goes along with this. Let's listen to a little bit more of this.
Front pages of newspapers or on television. It is not intended for public consumption, and it should not be out there.
So the fact that U.S. soldiers are fighting Russian soldiers in a war in Ukraine has no business in the public domain. The fact that the country we are backing and fighting alongside is losing, not winning, has no business in the public domain. You have no right to know what your government is doing in your name with your tax dollars and with the future of your children and grandchildren. You have no right to know. Shut up and stop asking relevant questions.
And again, time and time again, Russia is winning the war. This was part of the leak. All right, guys, so let's take a quick look at the Bakhmut situation. This was back in January. This is actually quick movement. A lot of people are saying, well, Russia's barely moving. It's not about the amount of land you take, although I like when we take land. It is about the kaboom that you're laying on the Ukrainian troops. Ukraine, like I said, has lost 40,000 soldiers. That is the alleged estimate in trying to hold this city, while Russia in turn has only lost about 5,700, which is terrible that they've lost that many. But the damage that they're putting on Ukraine is immense. It doesn't matter how much land you take. If you can eliminate your opponent's army, eventually it is just a total collapse. It is a domino collapse, and just the rest of the nation falls. Put the sound down a little bit. The advancements have been nice and steady. It's taken months just to make these movements. But these small, nice. I want to say small. This is actually, now, percentage-wise, overall, the entire front line, I heard Russia has taken maybe 1% additional territory since January. But it has been very vital territory. It has been territory that has been devastating to the Ukrainian forces. I think this video, from the 23rd, I believe that the line has actually progressed even further. Ukraine currently holds maybe 10% of what was Bakhmut, and they've paid a heavy price. And honestly, I hope Ukraine continues to attempt to hold Bakhmut. It is the gift. It is the meat grinder that keeps on giving. That is sadly, I must say. But for the Russian people, you guys are probably hooping and hollering right now. I, of course, since I am impartial, since I am impartial, I can't be taking sides, right? Yeah, right. All right, guys, so this clip is from the Redacted. It was posted on TikTok by 914 Eugenics. Let's take a quick look at it. Thank you for doing this work, because finding these clips is really time-consuming, and I appreciate for the TikTok poster to put this up.
Probably the Western media completely ignoring the multiple massive deadly attacks by Ukraine last night and today against civilian targets in Donetsk and Zaporozhye. The shelling was far and wide, guys. Some of the shelling that happened overnight in the early hours of this morning happened for an hour and a half.
So basically what I just told you, Ukraine is losing so badly, they now are just bombing civilian targets, allegedly, in my opinion, and it seems like that is what the Redacted is saying. The end is near for Ukraine. The end is very near. And the damage to Russia militarily has been minimal. Russia right now is a stronger military. And I want to encourage you guys, and I want to give you encouragement. I want you to know Russia is not losing. And when you get these pro-Ukrainians on the other sites trying to tell you and show, Ukraine does strike back. They'll attack this, they'll attack that, they'll blow up a tank. They are inflicting damage on Russia, but it is not major damage. It is nothing that they can absorb. When you're in a fight, when Mike Tyson got in a fight back in the day, he took some hits. He took some hard hits, but he beat the living bejesus out of the other guy. And that is currently what is happening. Russia is beating the crap out of Ukraine, and in effect, they are beating the crap out of the United States. They are doing such a good job at kicking that Western backside that it has emboldened China and has brought China and Russia together. And China even feels now that they're on the verge of seeing the collapse of the American superpower, the American empire. Let me show you something on that. Now, I want to give credit to Mundane TV on TikTok. That's where this clip comes from. Let's take a listen.
Russia, which is the largest commodity exporter in the world, raw materials. China, which is the largest manufacturer in the world, which needs the commodities, are perfect partners. If the U.S. goes through and defeats Russia, as they hope to, what happens with China? Now, China's left all alone. Who's going to give them the commodities? So you might imagine it might be in China's best interest to make sure Russia doesn't go down. And that appears what happens. As a matter of fact, let me play this little video clip and you can hear directly a conversation from Xi and Putin directly.
This is just incredible. Someone, open mic, someone, there was a mic too close. This is actually the president of China and Putin talking about the ass whooping they know they're going to give the West. Listen. So I'm going to read the subtitles at the bottom. Right now, there are changes, the likes of which we haven't seen in 100 years. And we are the ones driving these changes together, China and Russia. Putin, you can't see Putin in this clip. I wish I had the whole clip up for the format on TikTok. This we got. Putin agrees. Shakes hand with Xi. Please take care, dear friend. Look at that smirk. Look at that smile on Xi's face. They know this war is over and American superpower status is over. It's over with. We screwed ourselves in starting this war, allegedly, in Ukraine. And you all know what I think, where that alleged belongs. Now, this guy is a really good take on that in 100 years, that change that's going to happen.
100 years. What was the change? Well, 100 years ago, the superpower of the world was waging war and destroyed their currency. After they waged war and destroyed their currency, they lost the reserve currency status of the world, and England is no longer a superpower of the world. Now, they're still around, and the pound sterling is still around. It's the third most used currency in the world, but they've lost their status.
After this war, America will lose superpower. They are confident in that knowledge. We, the West, our Western leaders, and I'm in the United States, this war was never necessary. You guys know that I preach worldwide, not godly stuff, but I preach that we should look for world peace. I know. I really believe that we can find world peace. I really think that the Western powers of the United States, instead of bombing people to do what we want to, we should sit down and try to work together to make a better world for everybody. But unfortunately, the Western powers don't want the rest of the world to prosper. We want to keep the rest of the world in poverty. We want to keep the rest of the world on their knees. And not just so I can live better. I live okay. But trust me, you guys know, because most of you are Americans that watch me. You know that we work week to week, day in, day out. We barely make our payments. We barely make the rent sometimes. It's a struggle. The Western powers do not want hegemony, world power and domination for me and you. They want it for themselves. They want, I say it all the time, so rich, filthy rich people can get filthier rich. They cannot be rich enough. They cannot be powerful enough. And they do not do it for me and you in the West. They do it for themselves. So I just think that instead of looking for war around the world, I wish our leaders would sit down and just work with the world so we could all have a better life. All right, so let's listen to Scott Ritter. He was asked a question about, I guess allegedly Joe Biden is considering sending American pilots to pilot the F-16s that I didn't know this because I haven't been catching up on everything, are sending or want to give to Ukraine. Let's see what Scott Ritter has to say.
Well, the ramifications would be that every airplane we sent in to support the Ukrainians would be shot down. Scott, how could that be? We're the best Air Force in the world. Really? What have we done for the last 20 years? When was the last time we went up against an integrated?
We shot down a balloon recently.
Air defense system. For the last 20 years, we've been dropping bombs on wedding parties in Afghanistan, on innocent villages.
This makes me mad. I'm about to blow up here. I've told you guys this before. This is how we've maintained our power for the last 20 years, even longer, by bombing innocent people. Truly. I love my nation, but what my government is doing is just horrendous. Now, this video here must be scaring the bejesus out of the United States. For years, the United States, in my opinion, Well, y'all know the United States, it is said, let's just go that way, has been stirring trouble, keeping trouble between Iran and Saudi Arabia, two major Gulf powers, two keys to the oil flow in the economies of the world. The United States has kept them apart as enemies. China brought them together. So after the trouble in Sudan, some people would say another conflict started by the CIA, NSA, the United States. Saudi Arabia evacuated, rescued Iranian diplomats. So the Iranian, this is like bringing in the top Hamas guy and the president of Israel together to shake hands. China brought together, this is an Iranian diplomat who was rescued by the Saudi Arabian military, brought to Saudi Arabia before he can go back home to Iran. China has done this. China has brought two enemies together to the point that they're hugging each other. Why couldn't that be the United States? Why couldn't it be us, the U.S., that instead of making enemies between nations and tearing them apart, that we bring them together, peace and harmony, kumbaya? I mean, I know. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know why the American government, and honestly, that's who it is. And both Republican and Democrats, they both do it. I do not know why. Well, I do know why. Because they are heartless SOBs that do not care about the people of the world, do not care about the American citizens. All they care is about absolute power. They want to effing control and rule the world. Honestly, I do believe that there should be a balance of power. If Russia and China win, if they truly destroy the U.S., the American hegemony, and they get the upper hand on the West, evil is evil. Evil eventually will find its way into Russia and China. And right now, Russia and China are playing the game of harmony, of bringing nations together, of defeating evil, which I agree, the great Satan, the Babylon of the Bible right now is the United States. It isn't anyone else. So I do believe that right now Russia and China are fighting the greater evil, which unfortunately it is those lizards that run the Western nations. But if the East is successful in defeating the evil of the West and becoming dominant, eventually evil will seep into the powers of the East, and we will be back where we started with. Instead of doing this evil back and forth move, the nations of the world truly do need to work together and respect each other. And this could happen. We could actually have peace on earth. Really, I do believe that. If the U.S. would just stop trying to start wars with everybody. But again, that's not going to happen because the lizards of the world, that is not going to happen because the lizards that control the West, they truly don't care about any of us. And they will fight to the bitter end to gain absolute power over the planet. So I'm going over my Telegram files, and I just have so much that I just haven't been able to cover. I'm going to leave you with more happy stuff like I like to do. I think I got a couple of clips you're going to enjoy. So this is one of the more happy clips. I'm going to read the subtitles for you. So let's see what we got here. So this is my wife, he says. What did you wish for? He asks her. I wanted to spend more time with my friends, she says to her husband. Did I solve your problem? He asks her. Yes, you did, she says, as she gives him a dirty look, it appears. Meet my second wife, Shakinat, he says. And look at the second wife, that little smile. His second wife is his first wife's friend. She waves. She's, Javim, that's not what I... And he shuts it up. Shh. I think she's going to say, that's not quite how she wanted him to solve the problem. Welcome to the family, Shaknikat. And she smiles coyly. And he raises his eyebrows. So, wife to husband, honey, I want to spend more time with my friend. So he married the friend and brought her into the family. Now this is a good man. This is a man that knows how to make his wife happy. All right, guys, thank you for watching the show today. I'm gradually getting my energy back, and I'll start doing more and more of the uploads. Again, thank you for everything. Remember to go sign up for the Discord. A lot of the stuff I'm not bringing you, you can find it over there. So I got one more clip for you to leave you.